French tears and South African success. It has been a bumper week for everything World Cup. There's also United Rugby Championship underway. Good evening, everybody, or good morning, whatever time you may be listening. This is the One World Sports Radio Crash Ball podcast. My name is David Midgley. Alongside me is a top-notch crew. The Velvet Man himself, Nathan Gorgella, the man who knows Rusty's Bulldog by name, and Rudolf Pretorius, and then the master behind the scenes and in front of the scenes, it's Otto Ozmaster Simon. Good evening to you all, gentlemen.
Good
Hello.
evening.
An absolute privilege to be with you all once again. So I want to start off with the fixture from the weekend. Rudolf, you were talking about the way in which you had to maybe seek out a nail technician after chewing away your fingertips. Do you kind of want to jump in with that? Let's maybe talk. Let's start with Rudolf. The refereeing has been quite a controversial conversation in French media. I know that I've personally been a troll and just put a South African flag under every post that's come up with French complaining about the refereeing. Was it as bad as they made it out to be, or was it one of those where he got things right and he got things wrong?
Evening, guys. Evening, everyone.
Yeah.
It was a 50-50. Like I was watching it, there was 2-3 incidents on both sides where the referee wasn't concise. Two of them where it happened where South Africa ruck is formed, and you can see the French players reaching over and stealing the ball, which they shouldn't. That was one incident, and then a few times where South Africa went off the ball, off their feet and stuff. So it was inconsistent in both ways. I don't think there was a call I would say per se was a definite where he made a mistake. I've always said before, is Ben O'Keefe and rucks, that's his Achilles heels. Because in New Zealand, they don't play a lot of rucks. It's open ball. And himself as a player, he was not used to it. Other than that, I think he played fair advantage to everyone. I think he made the game flow. His communication was good. I do not agree with him stopping the clock to reset 5-6 scrums. You look at the scrum, you can penalise someone, but he didn't want to make a mistake. So that's also maybe a kudos to him. But I don't think stopping the clock for 5-6 times, it's the way to go.
Yeah. Nathan, that has been described by some as the best Springbok performance, arguably, of all time. What did you make of particularly that first half? Because I'm going to jump to Otto with the second half.
Yeah, good evening, everyone. For me, or good day for all other international viewers, for me, that first half, I think we were under pump for the first couple of minutes. I mean, Rudolf did mention it, just the way Ben O'Keefe officiated the game was a bit suspect in the breakdown in particular. And then with Ewan as well, we saw that hand that came out. What the referees normally would have done was taken upstairs, but obviously he just said play on and went backwards. But what's concerning for me is that both sides, from the French and the South African side, or let me say the public, obviously having a lot of complaints about the referees is a concern. But Rusty did mention yesterday at the press conference that both Steve and himself will probably be happy that they have Ben O'Keefe as a ref, because the way that he officiates a game. But again, just touching on the first half again, I think we were somewhat like very under the pump. But we fought back nicely in that first half. Just shows the character of the side. But yeah, again, just a good first half. Arguably, as you mentioned, arguably one of the best games in the Rugby World Cup for the Boks.
Otto, that second half comes down to small moments, and there were a number of them that we'll highlight in a second. But what is something that stuck out to you that really made the difference between the French and the Springboks in the second half?
Yeah, hi everyone. I think I would say the bench. I think our bench players were better. I think that probably swung the game that little bit in our favor. That little bit that we needed, being up against the French at home. And just what an awesome performance by the Springboks to come out of a game like that against the host nation, against the French, in Paris. That'll go down as one of, like you said, one of the best Springbok performances I've ever seen. I think this one, for me, comes close to beating New Zealand in Dunedin for the first time when Ricky January scored that DIY try. Just the way that the Springboks just stuck to their guns and the defense, and also you have to say the discipline. I think with the yellow, this was our first yellow card of the tournament, the Eben Itzebeth card.
Yeah.
And I did enjoy the memes that said that it was the French's biggest mistake was to let Eben rest for 10 minutes. Came back and scored a try that gave us the lead, and then we managed to hang on. So maybe if they'd let him play that full 80, he wouldn't have had such an impact at the end of the day. But just for me, the refereeing decisions as a pure fan, like, I'm not a coach, I'm not I haven't played the game in so long. It's just difficult to watch at times because you're looking at what's happening and you think you understand the laws, and then the referee says something or does something. And particularly that incident with Faf de Klerk passing the ball into the French player that's on the ground, and then they get a scrum. I mean, they got a scrum because subsequent to that there was a knock on by the Springboks. But there were a few little mistakes like that by the Springboks. So still a lot to work on, I think. But yeah, you've got to be happy. I really had a lot of doubt that we would pull this one through, but we did. So I'm very proud of the team, and it's very nice to be able to say that, because really that this could have been a heartbreak for us as well. And it was a tough French team. I really did rate us highly. I mean, just my score prediction was Springboks by 2, I think, or 3. Which means that I think they'll probably lose, but I just can't bring myself to put the score in on Super Brew that says that. So,
what a legend!
So,
what a legend!
Yeah, it's got to be the it'll be a legendary performance. It's right up there with us beating the French in that semi-final in Durban in '95, the game that we won against Wales in the previous World Cup. Games like that. So this one is going to be one for the ages.
And I want to just highlight the coaching excellence once again of Jacques and Rassie. And maybe I'll ask this to both Nathan and Rudolf. Maybe whoever wants to go first, perhaps let's start with Nathan. The ability to take the mark and then immediately call for a scrum. Maybe just, you've spent a lot of time with those two gentlemen in press conferences. Is that something you would have picked up from them, or is it just another instance of the magic in between the ears of those two gentlemen?
As you mentioned, I've spent a lot of time with them in the press conferences. I think they've been becoming unpredictable at the moment. I remember when the Boks used to play, we knew that we would box at certain points of the game, but now I think they've become so unpredictable, whereby now they're confusing even the commentators, because I heard on Box Office, the one series that World Rugby has with Hanyana Shimangi as the lead.
Host, yeah.
Yes, as a host, and a few other former international players on there. Even he was confused, wasn't even sure. Him and Matthew Pearce looking at each other while the game was playing. So I think again they're working on their strengths. They know that the scrum is a strength of theirs. So yes, go for the scrum. And yes, and we all know scrums are always 50-50. But again, go for the scrum. They know they've got a good scrum. Get a penalty and kick it out inside the half of the French. Get a line out more, another penalty, 3 points, or even 5 points or 7 points. So for them, that's all about territory and obviously working towards or working with their strengths. And obviously it worked out for them.
Rudolf, I mean, a decision like that by Cheslin Colby to chase down that conversion attempt, do you think that was a coaching decision, or do you think it was rather Cheslin thought, this is my moment? Do you think they planned it, or was it kind of, if the opportunity arises, then we're going to go after it?
I think it's both. I read a few statements in the week saying that Jason knew what Ramos does for his kicking, because he's been playing for 6 years with him in Toulouse. So he knows his timing and stuff. And what I saw, and can't confirm it, but he said he knew that Ramos usually when he kicks from the corner takes it a little bit further back, and when he saw him just place it outside of 22, he knew he could catch him. And chasing down a kick is not easy. 2, it's very unpredictable. You actually just want to put pressure. But what I said the whole week, and all my friends, so when I watch a rugby, I'm more on WhatsApp answering things. Is it legal? What happened there and stuff. But what everyone doesn't understand is when you chase it down, it's done. If it's done correctly, you can save 2 points.
Yeah.
And what I saw the whole week or leading up to that game, and what I saw in that game that happened is that the Springboks, same as Argentina, wanted it more. And if you look during the game, I didn't realize it, but I only saw it when I looked at the game the second time. I watched the game about 5 times already again. Is that you could see when the huddle was done, Curtly Arends and Cheslin Colby broke off.
Yes.
The forwards talk about what the next
shift,
kickoff is going to be and all of that. They broke off, and you could see Colby line up, and his eyes was fixated on Ramos. So I think it was more instinct thing than a coaching thing. But I think Rassie gives them free range to say, listen, like Fafas in the defense where you can shoot up, he told Colby, listen, if you know the guy and you can do it, make it happen. And kudos to him. He did phenomenal. He chased it, he kicked, he charged it down, and he only wanted to put pressure, but getting the ball, and you could see his face after he charged it down. There was no hesitation. It was back to business. Fix my scrum pad at, let's stand, let's go for the next kickoff. There was no celebration. There was no, I did this or that. He just focused on the game. Same with Eben when he slapped back the ball on the intercept. There was no hesitation, nothing. It was grab the ball, let's go. It's
confidence,
more focused, and that's what the English should be scared of. It's South Africa is currently very focused.
Yeah. Or the confidence that comes from that backing within the coaching circle. The ability to say, we back you to execute on the day. There's a lot of hard work and prep that goes on behind the scenes, but on the day, what does that say to a player? Does it kind of just take some stress off of them?
No.
I can only imagine that it must be a huge boost if your coach, communicates that way to you, to say, I know what you're capable of. That's why I selected you. Go out there and do your best. Sorry, Rudolf, you wanted to say?
No. I agree with what you're saying, Otto. It's. I played rugby myself for about 2 to 3 years, from 7s to 15. And the best I played is when my coach said, listen, you have the ability to do what you do and you do it phenomenal. That's why you're in the team. Go do it. And do it with the least mistakes possible. So gamble, but don't gamble enough. And that's what they gave to Willie. And Willie's getting old. That's why he's dropping balls. But when he has the ball in hand, you can see him do magic. Same as Lukanya Am. They've got free range to throw back of the behind their backs passes. They have free range for skip passes. The rest of the team, you can see they do basics. Catch the ball, runner up. Catch the ball, pass out to your second guy. When Creel got the ball and put a grubber through for Colby, you can see his focus was not to kick it until he made eyes with Colby, and then Colby showed him kick it forward. Creel knows his game is catch ball, run forward, make as much yards as you can, and then get tackled. So they've got structure of saying, you're forward, get the ball, take the ruck, clean the ruck, let's play. And then you've got players in your back line that has free range to play around. And that's what's dangerous about South Africa. New Zealand has something similar. The only thing they have that's hampering them at the moment is their fitness. They're not the fittest team that they've been all the years we know them. They can't go 80 minutes anymore.
Interesting observation
on this game.
Yeah, just wow. My nerves were shot. I think I only recovered by about lunchtime on Monday. It was good. Yeah, it was good. Good to be a South African fan this week.
Right. It was hard to go to bed.
Yeah. I almost put in leave for Monday, but I had some urgent stuff I had to do, so I couldn't. So, and on Super Brew land, we have a few Argentine and New Zealand fans that jumped massive places up the ranks. Most notably, the yellow cap to Luki, who jumped 14, and then just incredible 17 places up. So those were the guys that were backing the Argentines and the New Zealanders. And I'm nowhere near the top 10 right now. So once again, I'll stay away from the sports betting sites. So let's talk about England coming up. We'll talk about the other the other quarterfinals and the other semi-final near the end. But first things first. Now we've got to get through England again.
Who wants
so
first
replay of the
Jerry?
final? I'm going to say, I think that Fiji did us a few favors. I think that England will be a bit bruised and battered. I'm concerned about their loose forwards, Curry and Laws. Those guys have been amazing for the England team. And then just their guile and the way they manipulate try and manipulate the referees sometimes is quite phenomenal. What they managed to achieve there, and just being in the referee's ear and things like that. So I think, still, like I said, still some things to work on for the Springboks. They need to get rid of those last few mistakes, last few errors. But looking forward to it. And it's a Saturday night, so we'll have proper day off before we get back to work. So that's my first impressions. Loose forwards and the referees.
Nathan, talk to us.
And then from my side, we need to take a few things into consideration here. England is the only team that's been unbeaten thus far. They've got an easier pool or easier way into the semi-final. We all know this. I spoke to the assistant coach, the attack coach, Richard Wigglesworth on Monday. Asked him, listen, what's your thoughts on, obviously everyone's saying that you guys have been under the radar, you guys haven't played anyone big. And he confirmed, they obviously haven't played anyone big, they've been under the radar. But again, the English media would differ to that. But for them, they've just gone about their business as how everyone does. Just the goal is to win all the games. Before the World Cup, I didn't see them topping their group, but obviously they did very well. We need to take in a few factors there as well. They are hurting from the 2019 World Cup final. They're hurting from last year's game. And they've got the additional management in Alan Walter, who was our high performance guy or strength and conditioning coach back in 2019. So now he's with England, and he clearly explains what is the process like in terms of match day preparations for conditioning. And he admitted that they won't be playing as well in the pool stages. I don't know why he would say that, but they will start peaking towards the playoff stages. So I don't know. I think it's going to be a good game. What is nice, as you guys all mentioned, that the Boks are focused. They know what they have to do. Rassie and Jock, and I'm sure all the other coaches have pointed it out to them. It's going to be a big game. It's not going to be a walkover. So I think they are focused, as you guys just mentioned.
Rudolph, confident or complacent?
No, I'm confident on this one. There's a few things that you need to understand about England rugby. And I was watching while I'm making dinner. I saw the 2022 game you were talking about, Nathan. And what you can see, what happens is if you go back to 2018, 2019, and then the 2022 games, England will start getting ahead, but then their confidence is overboosting, where South Africa sticks to their structures. And what you need to know about Rassie and Jock, and we saw that in the previous World Cup, is the whole World Cup we kicked. We got to the final, we didn't kick. This whole 7-1 split, 5-3, 6-2, it's playing games where the other teams are thinking what's happening. You have someone like Kwagga coming in on the 80th, the 60th minute, and that guy is like a Jack Russell on steroids. He's at every ruck. He's counter-rucking. He's running with the ball. He's a scrummager, and he jumps in the line. So you've got utilities coming on 60 minutes. And what I've seen during this World Cup, yes, England, everyone boos, they're the unbeaten team. They nearly lost to Samoa. They nearly lost to Fiji.
Yeah.
And that is tier 2 nations they're playing against. And they barely won. And it wasn't that it was the B side or fringe players. It was 18 players barely winning.
Yeah.
Owen Farrell is in the limelight for being this phenomenal leader. But the more he complains to the referees and want to referee the game, the less he's focusing on the game. And if you look at that Fiji game, every time the ref made a call against England, he's standing there talking to the ref when the rest of his team is going backwards. So that's where I say Bongi and Sia is better leaders in the sense of they ask the question and then they start moving backwards. And the ref answers them, but they're still in the defensive mode. And when they ask the questions, they ask the right questions. Where Farrell, Bigger, Sexton, whenever a ref makes a call, they're in his ear yelling at him. And you can see they're not appreciative of that. With that happening, Springboks are focused. That first 30 minutes of the game is going to be crucial. I think there's going to be a lot of scrums because scrums tire players. And if you look at all the times that England has played in this tournament, I think out of the last 3 games, their forwards couldn't go 80 minutes. Where they started, you can see hands on hips, you can see walking to rucks. The only guys fit in that team is Mario Toji, Courtney Laws, and Tom Curry. The rest of the team is struggling to keep up with the play. And I believe South Africa is going to play a lot of running, kicking behind them to make that forwards go back the whole time.
Tire them out, take them to the gutter. So let's have a look at the Springbok side. It's an unchanged side for this weekend. And the question I want to ask, I'll start with Otto. Bongi Mbonambi played another 80 minutes. Is he able to keep doing it? Or do you think that they'll look at this England side and say, okay, if we feel like we've got this game wrapped up at around the 60th minute, or the 50th minute, or even half time, do we bring Dion on and let Bongi rest? Because you want Bongi to essentially play 80 minutes, or am I mistaken there?
Well, that's actually a good point. And just first of all, thank goodness we didn't have any injuries, so we are able to select the same team. Whether that's a good thing or not, we can debate that. I agree with you. I think that they'll probably look at Bongi's play and then make a call during the game, maybe at halftime, see how he's feeling, and then bring Dion on. The only problem is, if Bongi gets injured early in the game and Dion has to play 60 minutes or 70 minutes, that might be, the lineouts might become a weak point for us. It might not. We'll have to wait and see. It's going to be an awesome feat if Bongi gets it right, if he manages to make it through another 80 minutes in the space of 7 days, because they've only got a 6-day turnaround time from Sunday to Saturday. The rest of the team, I was pretty happy with the way we started in the game against France. I mean, the French were basically storming through the first half, trying to just bash through us, and I think that the guys stood up pretty well. I just think that once again our bench will be the difference.
Nate, I want to zone in on the forwards here. Would you have been tempted to bring in maybe 1 or 2 changes, or do you think horses for courses is the right decision here?
Rasa did speak about this at the press conference. On average, the guys' minutes on average is 200 minutes compared to an England or New Zealand or an Argentina. So we have 200 minutes played for average per player. They have 260 minutes average per player. So for us, the guys are a little bit more fresher in a way if you look at numbers. But again, I wouldn't change anything. Maybe again, it also depends how the makeup is of the bench. If, for example, if you had to put in a Lukhanyo we know Lukhanyo hasn't played in a while, scenario's sake, then obviously the bench has to change from a 6-2 to a 5-3, for example. Many things have to change. So yeah, for me, I would have kept it the same. I'm just worried why Trevor Nyakane wasn't picked on the bench, perhaps just for that everyone is in the same height. You know, we all know that Ox, Bungi / Dion and Trevor Nyakane all under 1.8. They're all under 1.8. Vincent Koch, so Vincent Koch is over 1.8, so all the same height. And we know how smaller props, they do be able to get underneath the other prop and just scrum in the chest, putting pressure on the opposition. So again, for me, it's I don't mind. We know that the England scrum isn't as great. We're going to speak about the England side in the next clip or the next page. So yeah, for me, it's I'm happy. I did speak to Otto. I said before the game or last week's episode of the Crash Ball that we could perhaps see that Deon Fourie might slot in at 6. Remember, Otto? So
yep.
Again,
which he did.
Yeah, exactly. So for me, it depends. If Deon does go in at hooker, I wouldn't mind because he has played it before. He has experience. So yeah, I think I'm happy with the guys starting in the forwards.
Rudolf, you?
Cobus Ranak ahead of Faf du Klerk, sorry, cricket mind in the World Cup. 2 World Cups, it's still to try and track. But yeah, Faf de Klerk, you know, is on the bench once again. What do you make of that? I understood it with Cobus Ranak and the French because obviously having played in France against England. What do you think is the thought process here?
It's nothing to do with playing in France. You have to look at the dynamic of both scrum halves. Cobus Ranak is a physical, fast player that exploits gaps. Faf is a Jack Russell on steroids that has a unique pass and he can kick into spaces where Ranak doesn't. So when they had him against the French, I went all for that because Ranak is more physical. He controlled the point a little bit better. He put a lot of more pressure on the flower from French.
Jalibert.
Jalibert.
Because the speed off the line, even though Faf is fast, he's not that physical. So he does a tackle, he does dominant tackles when he's got his feet behind him. But what Cobus Ranak does, he closes down spaces. Why they would start him against the English also is because if you look at what England is doing, Farrell with other teams has too much time. So you're going to see Ranak and Etzebeth and Peter Steff in Owen Farrell's face the whole time. And he's going to start releasing the ball sooner. If you look at 2019, that try we scored when he was dominant tackled and then the ball went out wide is because there's a flanker in his face the whole time. Now with Ranak, as soon as that flank hits Farrell, he's moved over to the inside centre. So they're closing to Alangi with Dialinde and with Ranak. And I think you're going to see 45 minutes, 50 minutes, then you'll see Faf come on. Because what then he brings is that while the team is then falling back so far, the gaps is being created. And that's what Faf does well, is he reads that and he does the passing accurately around that.
Rudolph, sorry, guys. Does that mean that when Faf goes in, that Andre goes in as well? Because they do play kind of a similar game in the kicking game, I assume.
100%. What does Andre bring to a team that Libbok doesn't? Libbok is not a physical upfront player. He chooses the gaps, he kicks well, and passes well. He's phenomenal with his backline. Him, Dialinde, Kriel, and the 2 wings know each other. And because Libbok and Willems have played together at Stormers, the ball movement between the 2 of them are phenomenal. They're creating gaps. Andre is an inside centre playing fly off with a kicking ability of about 90%. So I would still see Faf and Andre come on together. They gel very well. They've played 2019 World Cup. They played a lot of tournaments together. And what you can get from their dynamic is that Andre will be direct, especially in the opponent's 22. He attacks the line like an inside centre. And what that creates is the wings have more open space. So what you're going to see is when Andre goes on, you'll see a lot of Damian Willems going into the first receiver or Willie Leroux going into the first receiver spot. Because they're the passes where Pollard is kicking and straight running.
Amazing. Nathan with the good questions. Brilliant. So
Awesome.
the bench, if
the
we can have a
report.
look at it. Yeah, you see, he asked the right questions for the right person. So Trevor Nyakane is not on the bench, unfortunately, Nathan. But
Okay.
is there anybody else that you guys would like to see on the bench? Maybe Otto, if you had the opportunity to change the bench, would you? And if you could, who would you put in?
Sure. I don't know. Yeah, maybe there's an argument for Trevor. I think he's a little bit more mobile than Vincent Koch, if I can put it that way. But it's so nice, once again, that we have a team, like I've said before in previous episodes, where we're no longer a team where one guy goes down and we've got nobody else that's on the same level. We've got 2 or 3 players in each position, except maybe Hooker now that Malcolm Marx is out, where you really don't mind if the guy comes on. If Ergis Snyman comes on and either Etzebeth or Peter Steph du Toit or Franco Mostert goes off, it's fine. It's not a problem. Where in the past, before Rassie and Jock started putting their plans into action, if a guy like Victor Matfield or Bakkies Botha went down, we were clutching our heads and screaming in agony, because if we didn't have what was his name, Fourie, the scrum half, there was nobody else that was on the same level. Whereas now, I think Fourie de Preer, right? That's right, yeah. So these guys are quality. I think John Klein is probably a bit unlucky. I thought he was really good in the pool games, and you could say the same about Marvin Orrie instead of Ergis Snyman. But geez, when these guys get on the field as an opposition, you just have to see your moedsak in your schoenen, and I don't know how your confidence just goes away. Now I've got to face these guys, and they've done nothing for 60 minutes, and now they're going to start running over me like it's the first half. So I think it really takes the wind out of your sails. That's the English expression. When you see these guys running onto the park, and I don't think the English bench has this kind of quality. So once again, I think, like it's been in the past few years, this bench of ours is going to be huge. So yeah, pity about Nyakane. I like him as a player, but Vincent Koch is right up there as well. I mean, you can't really. Maybe there's some technical issues between the two, some technical differences. I don't know, but as a casual observer, as a pure fan, who doesn't spend a lot of time, in the week reading about the games, I don't really see a difference between the two. Rudolf?
Yeah, so what you guys are missing is that Vincent Koch has been playing in Saracens for the last 7-8 years with Mario Toji, Courtney Laws, Owen Farrell, all of these guys, Tom Curry. So there's a method behind the madness. Yes, height does make a difference, but even though Koch is a little bit taller, he only gets 10 minutes when he comes on. And your height can wheel a scrum, but he knows their calls. He knows the players, so he knows where to niggle them. He knows where they're going to jump and all of that. Because even though you've got an England squad and stuff, the players become habits. And if you play with someone for 7-8 years, when you get on the field, you play against them. You know when they're going to go off their feet. You know when they're going to attack a ruck, and that's what I think he brings in. And I wouldn't be surprised if you look at the last few training sessions that you will see Vincent Koch coaching the guys on the rucks and stuff to counter Courtney, to counter Tom Curry, and to counter Mario Toji.
And we're going to need that.
Same argument would be from last week, playing against France, Trevor Nyakane playing for Racing Metro. Why not give him a game? So again, we don't know why then he's not playing. Maybe perhaps maybe because of fitness wise, Vincent Koch is more fit. But again, it's so far so good. There's no complaints. So yeah, we don't know, they do. So we're just spectators.
I'll find someone after this.
Frank the Bulldog.
All right.
Yes, South African side done and dusted. English side. Who wants
Right, so
first bite
let's-
of this cherry?
Yeah, so I think, yeah, let's go, Rudolph. You go first.
It's a mature squad.
Mm.
The danger for me sits if in that first 20 minutes their forward pack is going to dominate us, their wings are going to have a ball over time like they did in 2018 and running 2-3 tries. My biggest concern for them is they're starting the two old men, Dan Cole and Joe Marler, which doesn't make sense to me. Joe Marler is like a Vincent Koch, come in 20 minutes left, create havoc and go off. Same as Dan Cole. In 2019 and 2022, Dan Cole was suffering in the scrums against the South Africans, and they're starting him. So I think in the first 2-3 scrums, you're going to see penalties against him. He cannot handle the South African scrum.
I want to ask Nathan this question. Rassie Erasmus basically named the England squad. Do you think that there was a small amount of panic in that England coaching room when suddenly he started naming their squad and they're like, oh, flip, let's suddenly throw Joe Marler and Dan Cole on?
No, but the thing is, I think even when, it's a rugby magazine, sometimes they would ask the public just name the Springbok team.
Name
and
your
sometimes
squad, yeah.
we do get it right, and most of the time some people do get it right. So I think, again, maybe it is mind games. I spoke about it with someone, I think on the group during the week. We know that's a common trend whereby a guy will come to the press conference, or a player will feature at the press conference and would play in the 23 for the box. And Kenan Moody was there on Monday or yesterday, I think, but he's not playing. So again, it's just mind games from them on that. Again, it's just Rassie, all these mind games, and obviously adding up these values. It's absurd. I think they should do a documentary on Rassie once it's done with rugby, to be honest.
There is a documentary.
Yeah, there is one. Yeah.
You almost
And then on Saturday you'll have a flashing light. You'll have two flashing lights, one green and one yellow.
Look at stroke. But Rudolph, you've shared some inside information with us that Rassie, like that meme of the guy trying to explain all the conspiracy theories, that's basically what Rassie's life looks like. Am I correct?
Yeah, so Rassie, I've spent some time in his house, and in his office, the only place his wife leaves him alone at is he's got these pin-up boards with different player names, keywords of what they do, and it's not big descriptions. It's just I saw one. I think it was Dan Bigger, left foot behind, going to kick, standing square, going to run, stuff like that. That he knows that he's coaching. He's watching games, seeing that repeatedly, makes a note of it, and then when they get to game day, he's telling his guys, if you see Dan Bigger standing square, he's going to run. If you see Dan Bigger with left foot behind, he's going to kick. Stuff like that. And he analyzes it in a sense that you would not understand. And the amount of rugby that man watches, it's insane. It is.
His poor wife.
I think I watch
memes.
rugby, but he watches double what I do. But he does it for profession. The only thing I would say on the flashing lights and stuff, he hasn't done it in South Africa since then because there's no power to do it here. So
Marco van Staden Eskom cut him short there.
He needs to bring his own Denny there to the coaching box to do that.
Those like wind up lights. Wind up torches.
I had a flashlight that would charge when you shook it like this. So we should get him one of those so that we can see him sitting in the coach's box and then shining the light down. It had a magnet moving in between a coil. So it was quite funny.
The deaf people would think he's talking about the English again then.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm also that midfield of England, Joe Marchant, Manitu Ilagi. I think we can stand up to them, but they've been hitting gaps like it's nobody's business. So it's going to be really interesting, the battle in the back line as well.
Yeah, I was going to say, that reminds me of that game between Ireland and South Africa. Manitu Ilagi, same frame as Bandi Aki. Joe Marchant is very elusive and very agile. Same with Gary Ringrose. So Yeah, I think it's going to be a nice battle there in the midfield between those two. Just touch on England. I think they have 9 players who featured in the starting lineup, featured in the 2019 World Cup, with 4 on the bench. So 14 in total, 9 for you now. 14 in total that featured in the 2019 World Cup. So again, these guys are the ones been just pushing this. Listen, you guys, we're hurting. We need to get one over them. And they've spoken about it in during the week. Just the beef. Henry Polo just spoke about the beef. They understand that England has beef against them, so they up for it. So it's gonna be a good game.
So I want now, Nate. Now you've pointed out something important here. So England last time getting a silver. Does that mean bronze now, or by the next World Cup it's just TFC award?
Quarterfinal exit.
Look, I mean, if you look at things, it's going like this. So yeah, but again, we haven't played the game yet. We haven't played the game yet, so we wouldn't know. So we just have to wait till the fat lady sings. So
absolutely.
Listen,
Speaking of
what I would say is same with Bandi Aki, Monitor Longi in the 22. If you don't tackle him first time, he's going over.
He's going to go. Yeah.
And
That's a tackle. And
Johnny May and Elliot Daly is they brought speed on the wings, and both of them I think are above 1.8. So if they're gonna get ground, they're gonna have a lot of pop passes coming off. I'm surprised they left out Marcus Smith, because I think he was almost man of the match in the Fiji game. He ignited the backline more than Owen Farrell did. But it could be through injury, or it could be.
Is there anything left of him? Yeah, that's. It was bits and pieces left of him after that game.
He
was strapped up like John.
Last year.
He was strapped like Larkham, like the mummy. Sorry, you were saying, Nathan? Yeah.
I think you mustn't forget what Kurt Lawrence did to him last year, so he's got a bit of flashbacks.
I watched that game earlier. I think if Kurdley and Colby's going to get the ball, we're going to see 3-4 players lining up to tackle them. And
shoulder first is the England technique. Am I correct? That's the shoulder first. Hey, just don't wrap the arms. Just straight in, head on head, maybe.
Yeah. So
from Owen.
The funny thing about that is, I think after this, all of them are going to go to tackling school, because even a missed tackle needs a tackling school.
Thank goodness Andre Stays is not on the field. I think if he was in the 23, we might see another one of those. So moving on to the ladies, they've had somewhat
hang on
mixed results.
Before we go, predictions. What's the score going to be after 80 minutes, or are we going to go into extra time? What's your Super Brew picks for this one? I haven't put my Super Brew picks in yet, so no, I have. Wait, I'll put that up.
I don't do Super Brew. I'm superstitious about that, because whenever I bet Super Brew, I lose. I do fantasy rugby, which is fantastic. Okay. I would go Springboks with 12, pure for the fact that I think we're a more fitter team, and like I said earlier, the focus you can see on them. If CR Singh's in the tunnel on the way out, it's going to be a good day for
Nathan.
Box by 8. It's gonna be a close game, but box by 8. Nothing much. It's just box by. But again, I haven't been winning on Super Brew, with just points difference and stuff. But I am confident that box will win. But again, by how much is the question. So I think box by 8.
Box by 9 is what I put in.
By 9.
Yeah, I put in Springboks by 9. So that was earlier today. So it's, but we're more or less on the same page. So I'm happy with that.
Quickly, practically typing into Super Brew to try and pick this.
Taking off.
He's like, Nathan, you know what? I can't pick by 8. I've got to go by 9.
Yeah, look, last week, we did it on a Friday night, so I'd already put my picks in a few days before. So this was done this morning. I was just opening.
Springbok Women, a draw against Samoa, and then coming up short against Scotland. This is certainly a valuable opportunity for the ladies.
This was the first game of the WXV rugby, which I think is flipping brilliant. Once again, WXVrugby.com. Yeah, we got beaten by Scotland. The score doesn't really reflect what happened in the game. We talked a little bit about this, me and Nathan, last week, because I'd already watched the game when we recorded Crash Ball 7. Yeah, it was just first half was much closer, and then at the end, Scotland started to run away with it. So tough luck there for the South African ladies. But I think they'll have another tough challenge against Italy. So just quickly, how it works, there's 3 tournaments going on right now all around the world. Division 1 is happening in Wellington. So that's ranking 1 to 6. And then 7 to 12 is playing here in South Africa in the Cape. And then the next 6 teams, the 13 to 18, are in WXV3. So that's the 1, 2, and 3. And then apparently there will be promotion relegation at some point. But this is a brilliant. So this is basically the women's version now of something like the Six Nations and the rugby championship. And I think there's another one somewhere else where, well, then there's some second-tier nations, but also the Asia Pacific Cup and those kind of things. So this is brilliant. This means that these ladies' teams will be playing at least 3 test matches once a year against similar ranked opposition. So we are ranked right now, I think 9th or 10th or somewhere there. So we're sort of in the middle of this group. I'm not sure. But the next game against Italy will also be a tough challenge. Italy beat Samoa, and we had quite a tough time against them. So we'll see. And then that's happening on Friday afternoon, tomorrow at 4:30 South African time at the Athlone Stadium. If you're in the area, try and get through to there and support the South African women. And I must say the crowds were quite good at the Donny Craven Stadium. I hope to see the same thing on TV. And we'll. I don't know if we've got the gas left in the tank to broadcast these games as well, but let's wait for next year's tournament, maybe, when there isn't a World Cup and a Cricket World Cup and a Cricket CSA commentary team running around. So we'll definitely be supporting the ladies. And so go to wxvrugby.com to get all the fixtures and all the rules and how it works, and get yourself clued up on that one. And then the final slide here. So our World Cup prediction pool, really no point joining now, except if you've been doing really well and you don't need the margin points. GNAWTOTS is the Rugby World Cup, and then the URC is starting this weekend. That completely passed me by. MOBSRANG is the URC Super Brew pool. And Rudolf, you're welcome to start a fantasy pool for us, because I don't have time to do the fantasy thing. I tried it a few times and it's just too time consuming. It takes me forever to try and think about what I'm going to do. But maybe if you know the players well enough, it might be easier. So yeah, you're welcome to start that one up for us, and then we'll give everybody that one, and we'll invite everybody to the One World Sports Radio Club as well, so that you can join all our other pools that we've got running. So that's a lot of fun. Right, so the first semi-final. Oh no, that was quarter-final one. Sorry about that. Another mistake from me on the slide there. Sorry about that. So that's
Wales would have loved to be in the semi-final.
Argentina beating Wales in the first quarter-final. I was shocked. And I didn't expect the result to be that far. It was once again just the last 10 minutes where Argentina sort of started running away with it. But I really thought that Wales, that Argentina were there for the taking. Argentina, I think, on any other day would be a better side. But in this tournament so far, they've really not been up to standard. But now, here they are, beating Wales comprehensively in the end by 12 points in a World Cup quarterfinal. That is something. And yeah, we actually went out to dinner. We watched a little bit of the game at dinner, and then recorded it, and then we left with about 20 minutes to go, and then I watched the game, when I got home. And the last 20 minutes, I was just like, what the hell is this? What the hell is going on? This Argentina side just ran away with it. What did you guys think about that game?
Nathan, maybe we should direct this to you. Is it because they play teams like South Africa and New Zealand with some consistency that has taught them how to win in the last half an hour of a game?
Could be perhaps. I mean, we did hear that the guys at Super Rugby complain that they're not getting as much competition because obviously we moved on to the URC in terms of competition wise. It could be the case.
Mm-hmm.
But again, I spoke to Otto last week on Crash Ball 7. That Argentinian side has been very inconsistent in terms of performances. So again, that's just could be the up for them against the Wales. I think with Otto as well, with my prediction, I did say Wales was going to win because I thought they were more stable side. And with the factor of Gatland coming in and just the amount of experience they have in the side. And then I think it was Dan Bigger coming back in the side as well. So just the presence of Dan Bigger in the side part could have given the upper hand. But again, not to be. Argentina was a better team on the day. And what helps as well, people been saying, I mean, I haven't watched an Argentinian game. They were saying that the Argentinian, the crowd is just, it's crazy. Like the amount of energy they bring. They're even better than Ireland people. Wow, that's what they're saying. I mean, I wouldn't know. So again, it's
the Argentines were wild in the stands. You know, they were going absolutely batshit crazy. It was unbelievable.
Yeah. Rudolph, the game between New Zealand and Ireland, the quarterfinal curse again for Ireland. If you're an Irish fan, you just want to put your hands in your head and say, what do we have to do? What is it that they? Okay, let me try and get my thoughts out coherently here. Where did they fall at the last hurdle?
As soon as the Irish figure out how to get out of the quarterfinals, they need to come tell our Proteas how to get winning the
like your early salt from Rudolph.
Early salt.
Poor Proteas.
No, you know what? The Ireland game came down to three significant things. They didn't start Sam Whitelock in the New Zealand team because they figured if they're going to bring him on later, he's going to be havoc. And what they've got is if you look at how many times Scott Barrett ran with the ball, he ran them rugged. You have a Maney, you have the Flair that steals balls and stuff. But if you have to keep tackling 120 kgs guys, you get tired. And what the ref did in that game, he didn't have so many stoppages. The game was flowing. Ireland's not used to that, especially not in the Northern Hemisphere. What helped them earlier in the tournament, they had all these water breaks. And yes, the water breaks are still there, but the water breaks are not replenishing water anymore because they're playing at night. And then Ireland couldn't get that front foot ball. So for me, New Zealand, if you look at their faces, if you look at what they didn't play too much of the backline because they know Bandiaki, James Lowe, they like stealing balls as soon as there's a tackle. So whenever they shifted the ball, you would see a forward or a supporting player with them, so they could seal off the ball and stuff. For me, I didn't expect that. I expected it to be Ireland by maybe 1 or 2, but I always said you never count out a New Zealand team that's lost a game because they always come back double harder than they went into that game. And what you could see on at halftime when New Zealand came back on, they were coming on running where Ireland was walking on. So you already saw them being a little bit depleted. And I don't know. For me, New Zealand played their game where Ireland tried to play a few different games, and it didn't work for them. Did it help that Joe Smith was the previous coach? Could be, because he also knows mannerisms of players. But for me, is that New Zealand stuck to their guns. They stuck to their games. And then you can see the same as in the French-South Africa quarterfinal, that last 5 minutes when Ireland had to go score from their own half, you could see the guys are standing still. They don't have gas in the tank anymore. And that hurt them. Same with the French. Dupont, and if you look at the last 2 minutes, Dupont wasn't even running to the rucks. He was walking there. He was so tired. So there's a theory of that Eddie Jones always said, if you're not 120 kgs and 1.9 meters tall, you won't make a South African Springbok team. Very much similar with the New Zealanders, and they just ran over them.
I thought those phases of play where Ireland, in the first half, they were trying everything that they knew how, and it just didn't work. Nothing that they were doing worked. And New Zealand were just able to shut them down. And as you pointed out, they kept the ball off the floor like New Zealanders do, so they completely took Ireland's ball stealing prowess out of the game. So that was quite interesting for me as well. And then, as you said, when Ireland had to score in those last few minutes, and they just couldn't. They just hit nothing that they didn't have a plan B or a plan C that they could fall back to. They looked clueless, and it was sad for me. I still want to know, who was Johnny Sexton swearing at after the game? I think he was shouting "F you, Wayne" at the referee, but I'm not sure. They cut away from it. They didn't show it in any of the replays, I think. So, but he was. He did his legacy no favors. Yeah, sorry, Nathan.
Sorry to cut you short. I think you were speaking with Rico Ioane. Rico Ioane, I don't know if it's true or not. He said 4 more years or something, and then Brody Retallick. Okay. Yeah, so Brody Retallick says something else as well. He saw at Peter O'Mahony. So it's, this is a back and forth thing.
Yeah, so Peter O'Mahony went off at Sam Cane in the 2019 World Cup when they beat them there, and said to Sam Cane, you're half a man that Richie McCaw is, or something in that line. So that's a thing that you need to understand about South Africa and New Zealand, is that they're a brotherhood of players. If you're going to take me on, you're taking on my brothers behind me. And with Ricky Ioane and Brody Retallick, they stand together. And what I wanted to say earlier is that if you look at the leadership within New Zealand, Sam Cane, Adi Savia, Brody Retallick, Sam Whitelock, those guys will fight to the bone for each other, to the bone. So if you're gonna lash out at one of them, they're not gonna hurt you with words initially, but they'll come back with tries. And then when you lose, they'll rub it in firstly to say, listen, don't talk smack to me. I know how to play. And that's the problems that other teams have, is if you're gonna get Eben upset, Australia does that a lot. He's gonna play out of his skin. If you're gonna hurt Bongi, he's gonna come after you. They're a band of players that work together and work towards a goal. Where Ireland, Sexton went after Yaku Paper at a URC game. He goes after players on the field. You see him the whole time in the referee's ear. For me, I've lost some of my respect for him, for what he does and how he does it. Yes, he has a legacy of this phenomenal player with all these championships, but there's still respect you have to each other and to the officiating.
Yeah, I was very disappointed in Johnny Sexton there. So, good luck to him in his retirement. And I think he's just about done. He might play a season or two at Leinster still, but we'll see. And then England,
time. Yes,
Fiji.
Mindful of time. England, Fiji. I want to propose something.
So close.
And put it out there to the ears of World Rugby, because they're listening to us. We're clearly first on the list for them.
Yes, we can see our numbers grow. They must be listening.
A rugby championship where you alternate home and away, Oceania and South Africa, and possibly Argentina, where, like we did in COVID, one place hosts all the games, and it allows you to then include Fiji in the mix, so that they're not, you can't just say, oh, Fiji's too far and they're away always. At least then you rotate who's the home team. Is that a feasible option? Because to me, this performance by Fiji before the World Cup and throughout the World Cup points to me that they need to be playing against proper nations, and they're awkwardly placed geographically. Is it a time for us to rethink what competitions like that look like?
Dave, you're correct. We shouldn't wait. I think they deserve it. They've proven it since let's say 2019, yeah,
2015
2019,
even.
and 2015, and even 2007 as well. They didn't beat us in 2007. But I think
Yeah.
it's time. You are right. It's time. You gave Argentina the opportunity as well. Argentina, you must remember, they did very well. I think it was in
2007 they
2011.
got a
did very
bronze.
well. Yes, 100%.
Yeah.
That's when then
22.
Augustine Pichut was in the World Rugby Executive Committee. And then I think that's when things started changing for them. A lot of money was being getting pumped into Argentina rugby, and then they were included in the Tri-Nations, but now it's Rugby Championship. So you are correct by including Fiji. I think it's time for them to be included. Yes, they might try to have a good start, but again, they will just adapt. And we saw with Argentina how they adapted. They beat New Zealand. They beat us a couple of times. They beat Australia a lot of times. So, yeah, you're correct. I think it's time that Fiji gets included in a tier 1 competition.
You know, the only thing that Fiji needs is a coaching structure. They don't have ruck maul play, special features, nothing like that. They play with passion. They play a sevens game. In this World Cup, they actually showed that they can play 15 men. They're some of the fittest, strongest, biggest guys. They sometimes try too much, and that's where you need a coach. I would take my hat off to Eddie Jones saying, listen, I'll take a pay cut, I'll go coach Fiji. Because what he does with these small nations, like Japan, take even in England, he takes a group of people, teaches them rugby structure, rugby basics, and saying, this is how you win matches. It's not about the offload that looks good on a highlight reel and you losing 60-10 to the Barbarians. But it is structure, line out, focus. And that's what I like about Fiji is they've got the passion, they've got the skill, they've got the fitness. They need someone to go clamp them down and say, this is what you do at a line out, this is what you do at a scrum, this is how you play defensively. Because they line up, but they dominant tackle and then nobody steals the ball. They dominant breakthrough and then they want to offload in a 50-50. If they're going to clamp down on that, it's going to look a lot better.
Yeah, and I think you can say the same thing about Samoa and Georgia, because somebody mentioned this in one of the shows that I watched or one of the interviews. I don't remember who it was. Just saying that, you know, these guys play 2 or 3 test matches a year if they're lucky. So if you play against them in a World Cup, you actually want to play them in the first week, because by the time they get to game number 3, game number 4, they're starting to gel as a team. They're starting to actually function as a proper rugby team, like you were saying, Rudolph. Those fundamentals of 15-man rugby starts to kick in, and then you've got a problem on your hands, like England experienced with Samoa. So in the pool stages. So yes, I think there's definitely there needs to be a promotion relegation or a qualifier, like we saw now with the once again with us being involved in the cricket a lot. I think that might be a good structure where you say to those nations, listen,
a tier 2 Six Nations.
Yeah, like a promotion relegation in the Six Nations and a promotion relegation in the Rugby Championship. And then if you that could work.
Look at when it was the Tri-Nations, South Africa, Australia, New Zealand. We dominated, you know, as the Tri-Nations, not World Cups and stuff, but we were strong. Then we included Argentina, and the first 2 years they lost remarkably. That's record losses. But look at them, they came back. And I always say you become better when you play against better. You become stronger when you play against stronger. So Fiji and those guys, I keep on playing Samoa, Georgia. They win those games, but that's all they learn. They don't learn the structures. They don't learn how the ref calls, because they also get the tier 2 refs. Now you put Argentina in a rugby championship. They improve. They beat New Zealand. They beat Australia. They beat South Africa. They come to the World Cup. 2015, they got 3rd place. 2019, I couldn't remember where they finished. And now they're in the semi-finals again. They must say something of what's happening with inclusion of them. And I would say, have a 4th team. You say relegation team. So have a little tournament like they do for a qualifier for World Cup. say Fiji comes in. Now the Rugby Championship is 4 teams. So now you've got each
5
team,
teams. Yeah.
5 teams, sorry. So you've got a rest week and you've got 4 teams playing. And then you have to win to not be relegated. Same with the Six Nations. Italy has not won a game in how long, but they stayed there. But then you've got Georgia and all these guys.
Georgia, Romania, and Portugal.
Not getting the opportunity. So I 100% support that, to say, put that relegation team. And yes, the first 2 years are going to be horrific for them. They're not going to enjoy it. But year 3, year 4, you're going to start seeing single wins. And then the whole world of rugby is going to improve.
You talk about tier 2 refs. Can we put Nick Berry in that?
No, he's not a ref.
One down. One down. Right, let's get into the
goalkeeper. Okay.
Let me put this, guys. Right, the Lions tour in South Africa during COVID, in Cape Town, first test. I fly down to Cape Town. I've got an office there. We do some work. I know Yaku Paper personally. I've got him on my phone, everything. And we went to play.
Name drop.
And,
must be careful, Rudolph. Rudolph, must be careful.
Yeah, sure. Also walks around the Bulldog casually every afternoon.
We go play by Rondebosch. We go play golf. And there is Nick Berry, Yaku Paper. We've got Marius Jonker. You've got Ben O'Keefe, all these guys. Yeah, and they're all sitting there in a group, and they're all social and casual, and it's COVID, so you can't go too close. And I speak to Yaku and I say, listen, why are you guys sitting apart? He's like, no, when they were on the course, people were hitting their balls at Nick Berry to say, yeah. So it's like a 50-50, but the thing is, the refs are also a community of brothership. They stand together. That you sign an oath. I was a referee from 2011 till 2016 at club rugby level and stuff. You're a band of brothers, but sometimes you hang your head in shame in your own privacy. Like a cowboy that cries in the shower. But you do that, and you can't support it. So Nick Berry is one of those referees. He's been a player in. He's good, but he's not at this level where he should be. And it's like any rugby player. I always said Elton Jantjies, his ceiling of rugby career should have ended at Super Rugby semi-finals. When he gets in the Super Rugby final, he crumbles. When he gets in a Springbok shirt and there's a high-pressure game, he crumbles. Same with Nick Berry. Give him a URC game, give him a Super Rugby game, give him Tier 2 nation games. He will be phenomenal. Give him a high-pressure game. He cannot handle that stress, and that's my 2 struggles. I don't know much about rugby, so
last one, last one. URC this weekend. I have 3 games in front of me, and there's 3.
No, whoa! We need to talk about New Zealand, Argentina.
Let's start with or 2.
Okay. We need to talk about New Zealand, Argentina.
Yes, apology.
So. That's going to be an interesting one. Argentina have only beaten New Zealand once, but I don't think they're going to beat this New Zealand. This Argentina team, I don't see them beating this New Zealand team is going through to the final.
No,
I think
is 25 plus. It's the same as in 2019 when England played the final against New Zealand in the semi-final. Argentina put it all on the line against Wales. I don't think they have much left in the tank. I think New Zealand 25, 30 points. And they're going to bring on the subs around 60, 65 minutes.
Nathan?
Yeah, I think Argentina, you guys obviously said the positives for New Zealand. But again, I just want to speak about Argentina. Shame. The minnows, or let me say, the underdogs in this game.
Heavy.
So I think they need to make it a dogfight. They've done it before. They've got the pedigree or the personnel. They've got the Alemano, Guido Petty, all that second row. They got Marcus Kremer as well. So I think they can make it. They must have to make it a dogfight. But the centers just make it very ugly, and they could perhaps have a chance. But again, just that New Zealand side, wow. Even with the bench as well. So I don't think the bench will compete with the bench on Argentina because New Zealand side is just too strong. But again, just keep it a dogfight, and
good.
perhaps they could have an opportunity. Anything can happen on the day. We saw what Argentina did to
David.
Wales.
Yeah. David,
Yeah,
your prediction?
if you were a betting man, you've got to throw a bone to Argentina here, because if it comes off, you're probably going to be the man who's driving a Lamborghini next weekend. I'm sure the odds of an Argentinian upset here means GNAWTO can suck it, because honestly, that's probably the best odds if you put a couple of dollars down.
They're at 8.25 here on Super Brew, their betting partner. Yeah, so that might be a fun one to put a few $100
don't
on.
Bet your house. Please don't bet your house.
No,
Please,
just a few $100. Just a case of beer or two.
Yeah, please.
Geez, we had it.
And petrol is expensive, so don't throw your petrol budget out the window as well.
Yeah, we had a guy commenting on the game between South Africa and Ireland who was telling us in the comments that he put down 20,000 Rand on Argentina. So for the international listeners, that's about $1,000 that he put down on Ireland to win on that game. So he was quite nervous. But yeah, that's gonna be a way long long odds. Right. So then the fixtures for the women, just quickly, tomorrow at 2:00, USA Scotland. That should be a cracker of the game. Those are the top ranked teams in the WXV2. Italy, South Africa, 4:30. That's going to be an interesting game. And then on Saturday at 4:00, Scotland, Japan. Should be a walkover for Scotland there for the ladies. We still need a tagline. We keep forgetting about this. For the Crash Ball podcast, we've got a logo. We still need to pay for the logo. The logo's credits are in the video description, but we need a tagline for our podcast. So if you've got some ideas, X me at Ozmaster. That just doesn't sound right. It's not a verb yet, like Twitter is, like tweet me or
X
Google
me.
this for me or X me. Nam. Yeah. Right. And then the URC, Saturday at 6:00 at Emirates Airline Park, Lion Stormers, Munster Sharks at 6. And then on Sunday, the Bulls and the Scarlets at Loftus at 3. So that's just about that. Any other thoughts on these games and anything before we call it a night?
I didn't even know the URC started. So
Me neither. I saw it on Super Brew. Yeah. They haven't even been advertising it properly, but I saw it on Super Brew. I need to make my picks for the first round of the URC. So here we go. That's the next rugby season. It's already started.
Yeah, so just a bit of preview on the games. I'm obviously from Cape Town, and we did have a press conference with Davis Snyman and Leonon Zas. They look pretty confident. Just a preview on the Stormers. They've played 2 games, warm-up games against SWD. Comfortable win. They played against the Sharks. Close win. Only Achilles heel for them, I think, it's a tighter position in terms of depth and the fly-off position, because obviously Man Lebok and Dame Willemse are in France. So I think for them, the fly-off position might be a problem. But again, they still have Sasha Ngomazulu. They still have Jean-Luc Duplessis and one other guy who just brought in Mathieu or something. I'm not sure. Sorry if I pronounced his name wrong. The Lions youthful team, there's just energy, loads of energy, youthful. So not much on them. Sharks, they played against the Stormers. They lost. Just for them, it's just obviously adapting to the new coach is John Plumtree. Obviously John Plumtree has been there before and understand the structures. And Williams, Paul Williams, I'm not sure what's his name. I know the assistant coach is Williams. Francois Fenter has been named the captain of the Sharks. Apiwa Janti is back after 4 years of no rugby. Kuni Oosthuizen is back as well. A few Springboks are back for the Sharks. Francois Hoogaard is there as well. So that's them on the Sharks. And then on the Bulls, Jake White, again, using the Rupert money. They brought in Gary Gold, I think, and a few other coaches. They brought in Kennedy Timber. I don't know if you guys remember him. He coached, he played for the Cheetahs, Flav, and a few others. I can't remember. And Gary Gold is there. So again, co-captains there is Coetzee, and the lock. Forgot his name now. He got his first cap this year. So that is that on the
Kuboka.
Yeah. Kuboka. Lizo Kuboka.
Kuboka's with the Stormers, yeah. Kuboka's at the Stormers with Stitole.
Okay.
So
Kunu's at the Bulls. Kunu's at the Bulls, yeah.
The thing I wanna put down is that with so many Springboks in France, this is an opportunity, and also, you know, the average age of the Springboks being as old as they are, this is an opportunity for guys to say, you know, that next World Cup, I want to be on that plane. And it doesn't start a year before. It starts in the performances now, starting to string things together to really say, okay, you know, Evan Roos, for example, somebody who's been on the fringes, I want that number 8 jersey come first game of 2027. And that's what we're going to need, is guys to now say, okay, you know, whatever performances I put in the time between now and when the Springboks come back into the mix, this is my opportunity. And if I don't take it, I could find myself once again not on the plane. That's all I'll say about URC.
As long as you're playing to the World Cup, not coming back. You know, Australia took it early, but
we're not here for the croissants,
I promise you that.
Yes,
I flew a Qantas in July. They've got good service. The food is good.
Yeah.
Legroom time. You know,
beautiful.
Just don't take the early flight. It's a bit bumpy.
Yeah, David, I think you're 100% correct in terms of the players need to take the opportunities now, because once the players come back from the World Cup and obviously after their time off, the BOK players will obviously want to play, and then they'll find themselves not in the 23. So again, missed out on opportunities. So you are right. They need to start like showing what the capabilities are. Now that you are seeing the first initial stages of the URC, you are correct.
100%.
Right.
Beautiful.
Thank you so much, everyone. Yes, what a squad we've assembled here. So this is awesome. This has been so much fun to talk rugby with you guys. Really enjoyed it. Thank you so much for your time. Really appreciate it. Thank you, David, for all the artwork and the stats once again. And it doesn't look like we've got I don't have the energy to do the women's game. I don't know if there are other guys that are willing to step up.
Admin at 1WSR.com if you want to join our commentary team.
If you want to join our commentary team, yes, we can do the production for you. We can set you up and show you how it's done. We'll be there for you if there's some other people to put in the energy. But we'll be on Saturday night at 9 o'clock. We'll be live. So
like
please
and subscribe
to
the bell also, so that you know
That's right.
below, so that you know when we're live.
Yeah.
That's important, so that you're with us. We'll probably be on from about 1:45 if technology is on our side.
Yes, that's right. And then go ahead and listen to the other podcast. The cricket podcast is brilliant. They've actually got interviews with players and stuff like that, much more professional than we are at this point. So do support us there. We do appreciate that. The numbers are going up. We really like that. We really appreciate that. So thank you for listening. Tell all your friends, all your expat friends, people who can't get to the game or get to a TV, they can listen to us. They can watch us on their phones. We're going live on Facebook. Yes, indeed. I don't have the backup power for my TV sorted out yet, but I've got the streaming going. So anyway, so there's lots of areas in the world where people can't watch the rugby for various reasons, so they can at least listen to some proper old school audio commentary along with us, even though we might lose our minds when the Springboks look like they're going to lose. We do appreciate all the support. Thank you. Yes, sponsors, admin at whatsr.com.
TV backup, just click on the link.
Yes.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yes. No, we've got
help
we do
his TV backup. Yeah.
We do this for free, but we would love to do it for some money. And you can sponsor the cricket broadcasts. You can with CSA. You can sponsor the rugby broadcasts with us here. You can sponsor this podcast as well. Do get in touch, but the best way for us to move forward is just to get more eyeballs on us. So thank you so much, everybody, for your support. We do notice the numbers going up, and we do appreciate it. So thank you, and thank you, gents, once again. that's all from us for tonight. Have a good one, and we'll see you on Saturday night. Bye-bye.
Thanks, everyone. Thank you for your time.
Right.